Going live. And we are live with DailySports.com, the Bet Like Mike show, episode number 4. We're on the 4th episode already, Mike
wow.
North. That's that's crazy to think about. Episode number 4, a Thursday edition of the Bet Like Mike show. Pretty good day for us yesterday. Not gonna lie. I hate to brag. I don't like to brag too much. Give myself a pat on the back, but we both did pretty good yesterday.
I love to toot my own horn. All I'm going to tell you is
that's a pretty good horn, by the way, without actually having a horn.
Anyway, I went 3-0. I didn't bet everything completely, like I said. I loved Montreal, okay, with the puck line, getting 1.5. And I also could have taken them without the puck line, but I didn't. So I won that one 1-0. St. Louis, I won both ends. I bet both ends. I had the line, the puck line, and I had St. Louis winning. And then I won.
Well done.
And then I won. What did I have? The baseball game yesterday. I won the baseball game. Whatever one is slipping my mind right now, but I won that game. And you won Minnesota. I mean, in Chicago, you won the Chicago White Sox game.
Yes, I did. I won the White Sox.
Wow.
I had the Phillies game, so feeling pretty good about that. The White Sox, it's a formula. If they're against left-handed pitching and they're at home, just bet them. Don't even think twice about it. Don't even think a third time about it. Don't even think the first time about it. Just if you see left-handed pitching against the White Sox, just bet them. It's an easy bet.
I'm with you, and I don't want people to think I have sometimers disease. I had the Detroit Tigers yesterday. They won straight up.
Yes, they did. Straight up.
So basically, I went 3-0, if you really want to talk about it. But I ended up going 4-1 because I told you to take the puck line and the game, Montreal and the Blues, and you win 2 out of 3 with that, and then you just get the job done. So, yeah, I mean, the White Sox are getting the job done.
Yes, they are.
You're seeing some big day baseball today. We'll be talking about that today. Got a lot of stuff going on with that. The schedule thing, thank God it's over with. But we'll pick those games. It's the fastest 20-minute show in the world.
I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing to call this the fastest 20 minutes in radio.
And you're going to get your pick, okay, within 15 minutes of this show. So I thought I'd bring up a topic
absolutely
near and dear to my heart. Jerry West, very hurt, very insulted that he wasn't, according to Jeannie Buss, a top 5 Laker of all time. Now, she listed LeBron as one of the Lakers. I think Laker.
Oh, you can't do that already. I mean, LeBron's a great player. He won a championship, I know, but man, I don't know about top 5 Laker all time.
She listed Jabbar. She listed Phil Jackson. Well, Phil Jackson and her were sleeping together, okay? Phil Jackson is a coach, okay? And what happened to Pat Riley? And what happened to some of these other coaches? But Jerry West was insulted, and he says, it's the biggest insult of my life. Well, I'm going to take it from a guy who's been insulted plenty for 30 years, even before that, okay? Jerry West has probably been insulted maybe 3 times in his whole life, right?
Right.
So he for once, somebody decided not to put the logo and hoist the logo above other people, and he's hurt. And that's what happens when you're used to being patted on the back and somebody goes against you. All of a sudden, it's the most hurtful thing of your life.
Yeah, you know? Well, it's just you're the face of that organization for a long time.
NBA with the logo.
And you given the face of the NBA, and you given so much to that organization just for Jeannie Buss. And look, I think LeBron James, I consider him one of the best basketball players I've ever seen in my life. But if we're talking about Lakers, LeBron's been there for like 3 years.
That's what got West mad.
What are you talking about? Yeah, absolutely. What are we talking about?
He should have just come out and said what he feels. He should have just come out and said, how do you put LeBron ahead of me? And he could have said, how do you keep Phil Jackson ahead of me? Well, Phil Jackson won because I used to call him the doorman at the Four Seasons. He gets the $100 tips, the $50 tips. He didn't work the desk at the Red Roof Inn. He had Shaq. He had Kobe. He had the best player. He had Jordan. He had Pippen.
He worked with a lot of great players.
You know Absolutely. You know what I used to say, John? If Phil Jackson See, I think Red Auerbach was the greatest coach ever because he had to sell the tickets. He had to do his own scouting. He didn't have 15 guys on the payroll and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, if Phil Jackson ever had to do what Red Auerbach would do, he'd get murdered. He couldn't put together a team. Yeah. And everybody used to say, "You're just a hater. You're just jealous." I go, okay. Then he became the GM of the Knicks. And he finally had to do what Red Auerbach could do, and he fell flat on his.
Yeah, that wasn't great. The Knicks stuff wasn't good. It reminds me, this guy ends up. He's a good quarterback. He's fine, but it's almost like Kurt Warner throughout his career. If he wasn't throwing to Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce in St. Louis, then he wouldn't be good. Or if he didn't have Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden in with the Cardinals, I don't know. It just felt like he always benefited.
That guy bagged groceries.
He did. It's a remarkable story. It's a remarkable story.
He won Super Bowls,
but he was carried by what was he worked with two, I think, really great. I mean, Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce.
They worked with a good quarterback.
He went to the Giants and did nothing,
And he went to Arizona, though, and made him relevant.
But he had great receivers in Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald was in the prime of his career. Anquan Bolden was great.
They had great receivers in Arizona before he got there.
Well, it helps out. I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback, just like Phil Jackson isn't a terrible coach, but I think he was elevated a little bit by the people around him.
Quarterback. They won titles. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Jackson. But I think I could have won with Mike.
I'm getting crushed for this. He was with New York before Arizona.
So what? So okay, but then he came back and he did the job.
Yeah, he did. I'm not saying he's like a terrible quarterback. He's a decent. He's a coach. But comparing him to a coach. But it's just always felt like that same thing. I feel like Phil Jackson's a great coach, just elevated by a lot of the talent that was around him.
He was the talent. Kurt Warner was the talent. You could say Dick Vermeil because of Kurt Warner was elevated.
I would say
Dick Vermeil never won crap. He went to the Super Bowl.
I'll give Dick Vermeil a little credit for taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl at least. Ron Jaworski was good. Harold Carmichael was great.
Okay, so now it's not the players. It was Dick Vermeil.
No. Dick Vermeil, at least with the Eagles, I thought did a tremendous job.
Did Dick Vermeil win because of the talent at the Rams?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
that was an extremely talented.
Only you would make the quarterback position irrelevant.
I'm not making it.
How many Super Bowls did they win? The Rams before he got there.
I'm not sure actually. Probably none.
I don't think they won any.
They went to 2 while he was there.
Brad Hayden. Look, this is unfair to you to even dive into these waters. It's not fair to you to pick this up. Let's go to the next topic.
I got crushed. I just got absolutely crushed.
I'm just saying. I don't know what's wrong with you. And you're wearing a Phillies hat.
At least they're winning somewhat, a little bit. They might sweep the Nationals today. We'll get to that pick maybe.
But you said Joe Girardi was a bad manager before we came on the air. I would tell you, maybe their talent ain't all that good. Maybe it's Bryce Harper and out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my God, Bryce Harper to me has done a great turnaround.
He has been tremendous. Yeah.
When he was with the Nationals, I couldn't stand the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. When he was with the Nationals, I thought, the guy's getting in fights with Max Scherzer and in the dugout. He thinks he's all that. He's doing Subway commercials. He's doing AT&T commercials. He's in the on-deck circle. Somebody says hi to him, turns around. He's got the hair going. I go, this guy is not a team player. And baseball's an individual sport, but you got to act with some camaraderie. I got to be honest. He went to Philadelphia, and he's changed.
He's been a leader.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And they told him, he was smart enough to know, I don't need that crap. It's only brought me grief. I hadn't done anything at Washington. And then he leaves Washington and they win it all with Adam Eaton in right field. That did not look good. So then all of a sudden he goes to Philadelphia. And I'm watching him now. I'm seeing the guy that's under the radar, getting the job done, and there's no drama, period.
Well, and he's doing everything a leader should do to help an organization win. I mean, he was even one that was in the owner's ear going, hey, we need to sign JT Realmuto back. We need to keep bringing these guys back. You need to sign these players or else we're not going to win. And so he has taken kind of the reins of the organization as a leader, as, you know, the guy in the locker room that's going to speak up and say, hey, if we're going to win, we need to get this guy back. You know, I love that. I think the mentality is there for him. He's hungry to win a championship. He has played phenomenal too. Like, the off the field stuff's great. On the field, he has been a tremendous baseball player since putting on a Phillies uniform. He's been great.
And you know what? I think he's a stud, a star. And I think that he's marketable, but, you know, he doesn't really want to be. He was marketable and he was on there, but I think he
wants to win at this point. Yeah.
Right. And then you look at a guy like Mike Trout, who doesn't want to do anything, but he'll never win anything.
He's quiet. Very quiet.
Well, you know who he is, and people don't even realize this. He's Bruce Springsteen, okay? He's a great talent. He's probably as good as anybody. But Bruce Springsteen, and people are shocked when I tell them this, has never had a number one hit. Ever. Had a number one hit in his whole life. Now, I don't know how big you are on Bruce Springsteen, but he's saying Born to...
I'm around the South Jersey area, so Jersey people love Bruce Springsteen.
And you know what? Deservedly so.
Yeah, he's great.
You know he's never sold number one? Because he's first of all, he's let his political beliefs be known. He did a commercial which everybody panned when he was in a Jeep in Kansas, you know, wearing brand new clothes just recently. Because I saw him in the 70s at the Uptown Theater in Chicago. He was fantastic. 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Born to Run.
Great song.
Yeah, Born in the USA, Glory Days. I love all these songs. But he decided that he wanted to be out there for other reasons. And there is no doubt he should have 3-4 number one hits. 3-4. He has 0. And Mike Trout's he's gonna have the same amount of championships. 0. But I compare them both. They're both good, great entertainers. But at the end of the day, you know, Elvis Presley had 50-some gold. You know, right?
Elvis Presley couldn't do no wrong. Yeah.
No. And Bruce Springsteen, they call him the Jewish Elvis. No, you've got to get a number one hit.
Well, yeah, let's. I guess maybe a good comparison with that is Elvis.
Alan Sherman. You ever hear of him?
No.
Hello, Mada. Hello, Father.
Yeah, that's a great song.
And I think it was number one.
Yeah, and to me, Elvis, though, in order to be the king of rock and roll, like, he had this evolution throughout his career and changed and wanted to be a hit pop star. Bruce Springsteen kind of felt comfortable being where he was the entire time, and maybe that's what Mike Trout is, just very comfortable being with where he is and what he's doing.
I agree with you.
It's not changing.
Nobody puts on a better show than Bruce Springsteen or used to.
Right.
Okay. Nobody. But the guy had a kick-ass band. But because Elvis used to say, nobody wants to hear what my politics are, he's beloved. Yeah. And when you get into politics of any kind, there's going to be haves and have-nots. I know people that won't buy a Springsteen album. I don't play that game. I love Springsteen, okay? But there's people that won't. And so there's a trade-off, okay? And Bruce, I think his trade-off is great songs, maybe not number one, but he put on 2-3 hour shows. Yeah. I saw Elvis, he put on a 45-minute show, belched and walked off the stage. Everybody loved him.
Mike Trout puts on a good 2 or 3 hour show too.
That's it. That's my only comparison. By the way, our guy Sia wouldn't want to be up, but happy birthday to ya. Asked if Magic Johnson.
Well done.
Magic Johnson was number one.
Virginia. I think he was. Yeah.
She was kind enough to
put
her in there. But I mean, Elgin Baylor wasn't on the list. I mean, great Lakers weren't on the list too. I mean, I don't want to have to go. James Worthy wasn't on the list. A lot of great players weren't on the list. So it wasn't Jerry West. I'm sure there's James.
The Shaq deserved to be on that list over LeBron James. I mean, absolutely, it's crazy. That is nuts. I think LeBron James is a terrific player, but he's been with the Lakers I think of him more as either a Heat player or a Cavaliers player.
I heard somebody last night say they thought of him as a Cavalier.
That's what I would probably think of him as. Absolutely.
I would never think of him. Well, now they may win again, but it's not a LeBron team. It's an Anthony Davis team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, Anthony Davis goes down
Well,
tomorrow.
Anthony Davis is a terrific. I mean, that pairing was great for him because Davis is just an otherworldly talent. He's so good.
He is so good. And you know what? You know who else is good? We are. I went 3-0 last night.
Nice. I like it.
Now, I thought I read differently when I saw Boston, I thought was postponed today. But the Boston Red Sox are playing the Oakland A's today. And, you know, the Oakland A's are my example of analytics gone wild. Okay. Billy Bean. They made a movie about a guy that never has won anything. Okay. But they're 23-15.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the Boston Red Sox today. It's 6:10, or out there where you live, 7:10 Eastern. Garrett Richards going tonight, 2-2, 4.50 ERA against Sean Manaea.
Yep.
Okay. 3-1, 3.07 ERA. The line is -113 Boston. Just take Boston. Just move on. I got a streak going right now. Just take Boston. That's my first one, my friend. How about you?
It's a tough one. I'm thinking about going with the White Sox again, but I'm a little bit afraid that Michael Pineda
could have kicking their ass too much.
Could have well, yeah, they've been kicking their ass, but now it's a right-handed pitcher, and you know they've been okay. I'm looking at a first 5 under 3.5. But
nice.
With the way the White Sox are playing, I'm probably just going to go with the White Sox on the money line at -137. It's hard to lay off of them in this series. They've just been crushing the Twins. And at this point, you know, I don't think the price is high enough again with the White Sox, probably one of their best pitchers, maybe their best in Lance Lynn, against a bad Twins team. So I think I might just end up taking the money line.
You know what?
A little bit safer.
I like that ride. I'm going to ride with you on the White Sox. I think Minnesota's horrible. Yeah. I think Baldelli's on his last legs. He's made more mistakes than Tony La Russa had made early. And by the way,
yeah, he's been bad.
He's been bad. The team, I've been calling them the fattest team in baseball. I think that they lived on last year's laurels. So I really like that pick. Now, one thing I don't do is force picks down people's throats. I won't try to come up with picks just to make another pick.
Right.
I only have one more. Where yesterday, you know, I've had 5 on one day, 4 on the other day. And I've done real well, but I don't push the envelope. If there's only a couple games that register, I'm going to take them. Philadelphia right now, the 76ers with the boys, Embiid and everybody else playing Miami tonight. It's shimmy, you know, it's at Miami. I'm going to take the Miami Heat -2 right now. I don't know what it is now currently. I charted it this morning.
Right.
You know, Philadelphia, I think, came out of the gate favored a little bit. But I think that in a game that you want some momentum in, I think it's the first game on TNT tonight. I am going to go with the Miami Heat. So I have the Boston Red Sox and the Miami Heat. It's my only 2 picks tonight. How about you, pal?
So the next one I'm going to go with, the Colorado Rockies.
You love them. They won again last night for you.
Yes. Right? They're a decent home team. I don't know what to make of it or why it is, but a good home team. And I think they're going to hit Luis Castillo hard. Luis Castillo is not very good. I know Luis Castillo for the Reds, not a great pitcher.
Luis Castillo, he was my plumber.
Yeah, he has an ERA of over 6 and not good. Now the Rockies don't have a great pitcher, but the Reds
to be a lot better than that. Seriously,
yes, he is. He really is. He's supposed to be good. So he's just not been great. So I'm going to take the Rockies, and then in my next one, a little bit of a risk here, but I think they end up crushing this team. But Mike Foltynewicz is on the mound for the Rangers. He gives up a lot of hard contact. Mike Foltynewicz, I'll give him a lot of credit. He's been good, better than expected. But this is a brutal matchup against the Astros. I think the Astros end up hitting him pretty hard in this one. They've been hitting the ball hard as of late, and Foltynewicz gives up a lot of hard contact. I like Houston at home.
All right. I mean, that is with conviction. And Foltynewicz, I want to congratulate you. Because when I first saw his name a year or 2 ago, I thought his name was Falinachka or something like that. Foltynewicz.
It's Foltynewicz. That's a great sounding name too. I actually love that, Mike Foltynewicz. That's such a great name. That's really good.
I don't think the announcers love it all that much, but he plays once every 4 days. So I got Boston tonight in baseball, and I have the Miami Heat. And who do you have again, my friend?
So I'm going to take the Rockies at plus 123 on the money line. I'm going to take the White Sox minus 137 on the money line, and I'm going to take Houston on the run line, minus 1.5 at plus 100. So even.
I mean, you don't even have to go out and mine. You don't have to go up there with the pick and the axe. This is your minding area. Danger, men at work.
Yeah.
Men at work. We got the pickaxes. We got the heavy helmets. We got everything. We even got a Philly hat tonight. All right, buddy. We worked overtime yesterday. Great job today, as always. The fastest 20 minutes when it comes to sports. We've hit it right on the dot. I'll talk to you later, Johnny J. Johnny J. So long, everybody. We wave like dorks.